So, alright, guys, welcome back. So, uh, we saw many things right yesterday, and we will continue from that. So, the concept is we will learn the HTTP today, okay? Alright, so let's start. The question here first is hello, कैसे बना रहा है? हाँ? काम करने चल रहा है, एक सेकंड हो गया, लीड लगा लो. आ रही है आवाज? ठीक, चलो. सही चल रहा है काम. स्टार्ट है हमारे कॉलेज. एक तारीख तो ही पेमेंट को यार, पेमेंट है वो कैंसिल बीच में, पता तो होगी तो. अब तो कस्टमर से बात करी मैंने, मुझे अपनी बैंक की डिटेल भेजनी पड़ेगी. मैं बैंक में डायरेक्ट ट्रांसफ़र डाल रहा हूँ कर वो. हाँ, भेजूँगा मेल कर, आज व्हाट्सएप कर दिया होगा, कर दूँगा, कल करूँगा सांस से. और वो डाल दे वो कल, एक दो दिन में, तीन दो चार दिन में, फिर वो प्रोसेस है कि आ जाना चाहिए वैसे. एक बार क्या है वो? हाँ, वो तो डाल ही देगा. हाँ. क्या है वो, तो दिन ही क्या बचे दूसरे महीने में, वो तो डाल ही देगा. 7. हम्म, हम्म. क्या है वो? क्या है वो? हम्म. रो ना है यार, पता नहीं सर की कहाँ को. सरकार ना, हमारी सरकार तो पूरी देगी सर. प्रोजेक्ट पे काम कर रही पे. हाँ, रोटी तो जल्दी खा लो. न, 2 गिलास दही, दाल, रोटी, कदम मार अते मैं लीव ना और या खन्ना लो सला दोपहर में ले लूँ दोपहर में ठीक लगे या खन्ना राय तो छाछ मिल जाए अब गर्मी खत्म है गई गर्मी में तो मिलियोने कछु दिन वो तो लग रहा तो हाँ ते हो रहा तो कछु दिन मसाले वाली छाछ मसाले धरे रहे मैं ले में तो छाछ में डाल लो अपनी में जीरो और कई तरह के अलग तरह के मसाले पाउडर पाउडर से पता ना सर गुड़ चीनी सब धरी है गुड़ चीनी और कौन कौन की बहू पकड़ ली कहाँ थे पिसाई की तो होता ही है वो लड़ाई करके जा रही और चीनी भर के ले जा रही और वो है 2-3 तारीख को आवे वो गाँव मही है अपने बा में हम्म, हाँ, कैसे हम्म, वह कैसे चल रहा दुकान को काम हैं सही चल रही है हम्म हम्म कूल है वो अच्छा, सही चल रहा होगा अपनी वो बना के रखें और वो अपने जानकारी है भाई साकिन में इनमें वो रखो अपनी हम्म 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 सामान कहाँ थे उठा रहे हैं फिर वहीं पे थे और कहूँ थे ना देखो कुछ हुआ वो तो सब ऑनलाइन मिल जाए यार वो तो है ना मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि तुम दूसरे जोरे जाओ तो पर तुम्हें पता होनी चाहिए और कौन है कैसो का हसीन है को। हम्म, हाँ तो उनसे एक आध वो मिल के जानकारी का हसीन है उनको कैसे कैसे देंगे हर चीज़ डिटेल हो ना अपने को। सही है। हम्म। हम्म। पर ही जाएगा। या की सबसे ज़्यादा पर हो। हम्म। 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 गांव की सपोर्ट चाहिए बस। गांव की सपोर्ट होना है तो बाहर को तो एक आदमी ते गांव के क्या पतले भाई बाहर को आवे काम के इतने देख के गांव की सपोर्ट ना बिगड़नी चाहिए कि वो मतलब अपने घर की सपोर्ट रहेगी तो मोहल्ला सही रहेगा। मोहल्ला सही रहेगा तो दूसरे मोहल्ला तो समझ रहे हो ना। तो अपने जो उनकी ना अपने की सपोर्ट ना होनी चाहिए कि वो गांव की सपोर्ट हमेशा रहनी चाहिए। बाहर के तो आते जाते रहे बाहर के खिलाफ है ना मतलब मान लो कोई ऐसी ऐसी चीज़ है कि बाहर गांव के खिलाफ है कब वो दुकान ना चलेगी। गांव को ये जो है गांव की वजह से चल सका दुकान। बस गांव के अंत मत बिगाड़ी वो। हम्म। 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 हाँ। हाँ और रोले कब कोई थोरोले वो कुछ ज़्यादा है को। गांव के और अपने मोहल्ला खिंते बनाए के रखो मतलब दुकान वैसे ना चलेगी कि क्या हमें बनाए के रखनी पड़ेगी हर एक पे। मोहल्ला के अंते घर के अंते सब अंते। तो तुम आज बनते ला रहे होंगे अपने रिश्तेदारों पे तो। हम्म। हाँ। हम्म। हम्म। हाँ, देख थोक के घर के इनसे मतलब बना के रखेंगे तो ये गिरा के काटेंगे ना सबसे बड़ी बात की है। कोई तो आएंगे गिरा के ना काटेंगे। अगर घर के और मोहल्ला के बिगड़ा रहे हैं और गांव के बिगड़ रहे हैं तो गिरा के काटें। ठीक है ना। तो ये हमारे इनसे हमेशा बना के रखो हिसाब से रहो। बारिश बारिश हुई ना भाई। हम्म। ऐसे बम्बे को होती है पानी। हम्म। हम्म। हाँ ऐसा कुछ। हाँ। हम्म। कितने 1,000 रुपये डाल रहे हैं। हाँ हाँ, स्टाइपेंड आ जाएगा कोई बात ना नहीं। एक अदना में टार थी कल पल्लारी का 1000 रुपया और हैं। हाँ फिर मैं चूँकि कहा हो कि रोज रोज मैं बातें कहूँ ना हूँ। इजराइल वाले थे। कल कल की बात है। कल की न परसों की बात है, परसों कही मैंने, फिर हम दोनों मतलब लग रहे वापस करवे स्क्रीन शेयर करके। तो वहाँ में फिर बैंक डिटेल की मैं करवा दें तो, पर मुझे वहाँ शिफ्ट कोड की ना पता हो यार। तो फिर मैंने कह लिया मैं तो कल डिटेल भेज दूंगा पूरी। तो वो शिफ्ट कोड पर मैंने कस्टमर केयर थे HDFC वाले के लियो। अब कल कर दूंगा वहाँ पे, वो कर दो उसी में शायद। हम्म। आज उनको कुछ त्योहार है वहाँ, व्रत करते रहे हैं वो। हम्म। तो आज सुबह ने कही भाई देख मैं आज मीटिंग भाई नहीं तो सांझ को फिर आज रात भर कछु खामे पीने अपना है। फिर आज ना होगी मीटिंग। नहीं आज ही बता दें तो मैं नंबर दूंगा। ठीक है फिर alright, so we are learning HTTP, right? Hypertext what? Hypertext transfer protocol. That's the full form of this, right? So let's say what is HTTP like? There is a question what happens like when you visit a website. What actually happened there, right? So let's assume there is a HTTP is a restaurant, okay? Let's assume it's a restaurant. This is a building of restaurant, right? And it has like no HTTP. Let's say there is a restaurant. Don't HTTP is not a restaurant. Let's just say there is a restaurant, and we have to like it has like very strict manners, right? Okay, and you are here as a client. Okay, you are a client, and this is the kitchen. Okay, or we can say the server. Alright, and you call the kitchen or the servers. Okay, one pizza. You say one pizza, right? So you are this is your request, right? Now, and the kitchen will answer to you. Oh, here it is. Here your pizza. They give you some pizza with some toppings, right? So this will be the response from the server, right? Or it can say, okay, we are closed. We are not serving anymore, right? We are closed. There is could be also, or like there is some error, like there is no electricity, right? Like this. So any response you can expect from this kitchen, right? But you can make that request. So every single thing on a web, okay, is this one conversation. It is repeated billions of times per second. Okay. Like for example, your browser is loading YouTube. Okay. Request, your phone app checking your messages. Okay. these are also requests, right? Two servers talking to each other. This is the same conversation, no human involved in this. So what is the anatomy? Okay, let me show you. Just a minute. So let me show you something how a like client, okay, like client, what it can be your app, it can be your browser, it can be all like any front end, right? How your app can communicate with a server, like backend of ML model, right? So there is a protocol. Protocol, what is protocol? These are set of rules, okay, set of rules to communicate. Let's say you can say like when you write like an application in your board exams, you write okay to the principal like this, right? These are the application rules, right? You have to write this, right? So same way, uh, there are the rules that is called the protocol. So when one client and server communicate with each other, so there is a rule to communicate, okay. So let me show it to you something. Let's say this is a client, okay, and this is a server, and if like now client wanted to ask something like okay give me the number of that client asks to ask something to server, okay. Client want to ask something to server, then how that client can communicate? It has first client has to make a request to the server, right? So to make a request, to communicate the request from client to server, there is a rule under the HTTP protocol. So how can a request can be made? So there is a rule there, okay. What is the rule? So it has to use a method to make a request, and that method name is post, okay. So there are several methods a client has, okay. Like there is a method get. When client want some data from the server, it says it uses this method, okay. This method is to retrieve the data from the server, okay. And there is also a method like post. It is used to send new data for processing, okay. And let me see, for processing. Then there is a method called put, alright. So what is put method? Put method is to update existing data, okay. To update existing data, alright. And delete, like to delete some data from server, right? Here what we are doing, okay, let's say we want to, in our case, we want to predict the class. Okay, predict the class uh, of the review, right? If it is negative or positive, right? So which method you think can work? Are we retrieving some data? No. Are we updating some data? Not in this case. Are we deleting some data? No. We want to send some input, new data for processing. So the server side will process that data with the ML model, and it will give us a response. Okay. So how this client can make the request now? This client can make the request by using the post method, and this, let me show you what is this predict. So that means I am sending some data to predict. Please make a prediction. So there is a predict method, which this is server, right? So this predict method like sitting in the server. Okay, sitting in the server here, predict method is there, right? So it is sitting in the server. I am sending, okay, take my data and use this predict method to predict the review class, right? So this is the path. We have to pass the path. Okay. So the thing is, so yeah, okay. So we have method. This is the method. Okay, and this is the path, right? So after method, we have to tell the path, like where to process the data. Okay, so this is we have to give the path to the this method. Okay, so this path is called endpoint. Okay, and or we can say the API endpoint. Alright, this is, so you can think of a server as a building, right? It has like many rooms. Okay, in this building there are many rooms, like login room, there is a sign up room, right? There is a predict room, right? There is a users room, right? There is a history room, right? Where you want to go, so you have to like mention the endpoint specifically in the method or in the request of yours. Okay. Okay, when you make a request from client to server, so they involve some headers. Okay, header. What are headers? These headers will contain the metadata for you. Okay, like they will contain like information about the request, not the actual data, like information about the data. So for example, what is the content type? So content type of yours is like application JSON. Let's say you have the JSON file in the request. That's it. Okay. So that it's telling like, okay, the request body is written in the JSON format. Okay. And in request you have what you have? You have method, right? You have method, you have path, or can say endpoint, and you have headers. What else you have? And you have body. Okay. this body will contains the actual data for you. Okay, like this, because it is specified JSON, so this will contain like, okay, text is a great product, like this is the JSON, right? So the server will receive this part, this body of the message. Okay, then suppose let's suppose the backend code is this, like at app.post. So this is like receiving the post predict things. Okay, predict. Okay, if it is this, then, and this method is like, okay, def predict data. Okay, then text is equal to data text, like this. All right, so this data will is in the JSON format, right? It can like access the data through this keyword text, because this is the key value, is the great product, right? So this text is equal to great product, right? As simple. Then so what server will do? Server will do this. This will take this text and it will clean it. Clean it, like clean means like remove extra spaces. Okay, like that, and remove A and B, something like that, and it will then convert into numbers, like by TF-IDF, right? Vectorizer, with the vectorizer, and this, after that it will use the ML model to prediction, and after that it will return the result, right? Like this. One more thing, there will be a thing like response status code. If it returns successfully, then it will give you response code as 200. Okay, this request code means the request was successful. Okay, so in common status codes are like 200. Okay, and there is 201 like created, there is 400 for like bad request. Okay, 400 are like error ones. Okay, the unsuccessful ones. 401 is unauthorized, 403 is forbidden. Okay, if you are not allowed to do something. There is 404, like, you know, this very, if the data not exists, then this is the code not found. Then 500 like internal server error, like these are the codes, right? And in the response there is also headers. Okay, so we will also have the response header. So again, like, it will also contain the metadata. Okay, header will contain, so it like, okay, what is the content type, like this. Content type, like, for example, application not JSON, like this. Like, this will tell, like, okay, this response body is also in JSON, then it will have the response body also. Okay, it will be, because it is JSON, then sentiment is positive, like this, right? And then confidence is what, 0.94, let's say, like this. So this server will receive this body only. Okay, like this. So this is the all flow. Okay, body is the payload. So you as I tell you, like this get is to retrieve data. Like you are asking, okay, give me something. So you are reading the data, right? And when you post, so here is that you say to the server, like, okay, here is the data, do something with it, like create it, process it, right? And you have like put, and there is another thing for this put is patch also. So you can do anything, update something, and delete is obvious, like you have to delete data, right? So you, this is the rule of thumb. When you like fetching some data, you will use get, and if you are sending data, you will use post. Okay, this is a rule of thumb. Like all the, and there is some shortcut for this codes also. If like 2xx is some code, right? You are okay. So this is a success. Well, like 201, okay, 201 created, right? If there is something 4xx, like you messed up, client error is there, okay? So 400 is bad request, your order made no sense, like that, right? And 404 not found, no such dish is available in the restaurant, like this. And 422, this is not mentioned here. If there is a code 422 also, format is right but invalid content. Okay, we will like look into it more today. And when we have 5xx, like we messed up, server error 500, the kitchen code file, like that. So server side errors are like 501, okay? So interview shortcut that always lands, like 4xx will blame the caller, 5xx blame the server. And on the .22 we will graph the rate of 5xx responses in the graph now, okay? That number is basically the health of a company. Alright, so you see these is the body, right? Body of request and response. They need a data format. The both sides needs a data format to speak, right? That data format for HTTP is JSON. Okay, JSON, JavaScript, object notation. Alright, for HTTP, JSON is the format to send and receive data. Like through it, long escape JavaScript, the JSON is just nested keys and values, like this. Okay, it will have some key like text, and it have some value. Great product, like this. Okay, and it can have some like rating 5, right? Verified, true, right? Like this. Okay, tags, then it will have some value like, okay, electronics, comma, gift, so anything in the value, right? So it looks familiar to you, right? It's nearly a Python dictionary, nearly. So this is why Python and JSON get along very well. Okay, Python dictionary and JSON converges is one functional call. Just YML yesterday we did, right? Is for humans configuration. JSON is machine stocking. So now you know what is the data format, what is how HTTP communicates, right? But there is a very big question and very common one. What is an API, bro? What is an API? Okay, full form is this. For this is application programming interface. This is the full form. What is an API? API is any defined way for programs to talk to each other. Can you comprehend it? Any defined way. Way means there is are rules. Okay. Any defined way for programs, not humans, for programs like codes, program files, or we can say methods. Method is a program, and literally, right? Programs to talk to each other. How two methods can talk to each other? Is there any defined way for that? If there is any way or there are any rules, that's called API. Okay. So, for example, there is a restaurant menu. Okay. Here is what you can order, in what format, and what you will get back. There is a thing, right? And you will not get the kitchen itself, right? So there's then API interface, how two programs will communicate to each other. So there is very famous thing, REST API. What is the REST API? Or do you want more, like, before going to REST API, we can dive deep into this API thing more. You can say it's just set of rules, okay, that allows two software application to communicate with each other. Allow two software applications to communicate with each other. That's it. Think of it like this. Okay, client, you are a client, okay, and waiter is a API. Okay, you say to the waiter, okay, I want a pizza. Okay, to the waiter. Waiter goes in the kitchen and makes the pizza, and it will get back to you with the pizza, and you receive the pizza. So your client is your app, your browser, your mobile app, right? API is the messenger that accept request and return responses to you. What is the server? Server is a backend that performs the work. Database queries, ML prediction, authentication. So you can say you are a client, you say API, okay, to the waiter, like, get me a pizza. And the backend server is the chef. Server will make the pizza. The chef will make, and the waiter will get back to you with a pizza, like this. For example, let's take this weather API, like very famous, very common in development world, right? Suppose your phone wants 2 days weather, right? So your phone will send a HTTP request, like, oh, this is the method, then get weather and city is equal to of Hyderabad, right? Get the weather of it. So server will process this and get back to you, right? Like, city is Hyderabad with a body of response, right? And you want some mathematical view on API. Here the mathematical view also for you. Okay. So you can think of API as a mathematical function. Okay. If API is fx is equal to y, where x is input is your request, f is a server logic, right? Or you can say the API, okay, and y is the output response. This fx or f, this is the API, right? So this f function is API plus backend logic plus ML model, like this, right? So you can say API is a contract that defines how one program can request a service from another program and what response it should expect. And it will hide the internal implementation and exposes only the functionality that client needs. So this is the main thing. Okay, it hides the actual implementation. Next thing, you heard of this REST API a lot more, right? What is this REST API? Okay. So this REST API is an API following So REST API is API, but it has a specific rules. Okay, API with some defined specific rules is the REST API. So there is a particular rules for an API. Okay, which is called related to the REST API, or you can say related. We can say like strictly related. Okay, we can say related. So defined for this REST API. Okay, so what REST API, there is a API with specific rules called the REST API, we can say, right? So those rules are specific for REST API. Okay, so what is the convention for this REST API? One is resources will live at paths. Okay, for example, slash reviews slash predict, like this. So HTTP verbs like methods, they will decide the action, like okay, get or post, like this. So those are the HTTP verbs. Okay, JSON will carry the data. Okay, and the responses will use the proper so resources will live on the paths, and thing is HTTP methods. Okay, or like verbs like methods. Okay, methods will describe the action. This is one other rule. Okay, and JSON will carry the data. Okay, this is one other thing, and responses will use proper status code, like we like if it is okay, then we should not use the 400 code, right? We should use 200 code, right? We have to use the proper code. Okay, so REST is not a technology. in itself. REST, it's just a table manners. Okay, like how, what will define the where the resources will live. Okay, what will define the action, what, how the data will transfer with like with between client and server, right? How, which code the response will use, right? This is the just REST API. Okay, there is thing called fast API also. Fast API. Okay, and this API won't Python. Why this fast API won't Python? Okay, so you know, so Python had Flask API system. Okay, so like it is the old lightweight king of for Python, and it also had Django. This Django was the batteries included giant. Okay, but when this fast API came, right? This fast API came. It took in 2018. Okay, it took over the ML world for three reasons. One reason was speed. It is among the fastest Python frameworks built on async foundation. Okay. Uh, this is called. This is built on Python framework. It is a Python framework. Okay. Among fastest Python framework, right? Which was like built on async foundations, right? We will look into this async foundation later also. Second thing was type hints to do the work. It include type hints to do the work. So you remember our day 3? If you don't remember, let me tell you. So we were like using this text of type str in the functions, right? So this fast API reads those hints and generate validation and documentation from them. Okay. So this uses like take help of this and generate validation and documentation from them. Okay. Third is automatic interactive docs. Alright, what is it? So every fast API app, okay, any fast API app, it gets a free web page where you can see and test every endpoint. No code, extra code, you will guess everyone does. Okay, so there is every fast API app will get a free web page where you can see and test every endpoint. Okay, there is no extra code needed in that case. We will use fast API in for this in this project. So you will learn that also. Okay. Now, next concept, guys, is the pydantic. Very important. Pydantic. So on day 2, we wrote a one thing is the validate review function. Validate review by hand, right? Like we have to check like if text is empty or not, like these things, right? Check the rating converts to int or not, right? So it was useful, but it was manual and repetitive. Okay. So pydantic is the same thing, is the same idea, but it is industrialized. Okay. So the case is you declare the shape of valid data as a class. Okay. Like our data class, let's for example. But with enforcement, we have our data class. Okay. So in this case, pydantic, you declare the shape of valid data as a class. Okay. So we use data class, right? Earlier on day 1, I think on day 2, I don't know, remember. So anything arriving from the internet, okay, that will get checked against the declaration automatically. Okay. So when you declare the class, any data coming from the internet, it will be checked against the declaration automatically. Okay. If the data does not comply with the type, it's a wrong type, or it has any missing field, so that will be rejected with a precise error message before your code even runs. Okay. So data class says, okay, here is my shape, but pydantic model also says, here is my shape, and I will bounce anything that doesn't match. That's the difference in the data class and pydantic. Data class only say the shape, but pydantic model, that will tell you the shape of the class, but also reject the bounce anything that doesn't match the shape. So at the API door, where untrusted internet knocks, right? Any data can come through internet. You want the bouncer, right? If anyone without a tag or without a ticket comes to your theater, then bouncer can throw him out, right? So in interview, you can be asked, okay, explain what happens when I type a URL and press enter, right? So what will be your answer? Your answer should be the classic. So the DNS will resolve the name to IP. Okay. DNS resolve the URL name, right, to IP. This will be one thing. After that, wait. After that, browser opens a TCP connection, right? Browser opens a TCP connection with server, right? And sends an HTTP GET request. Okay. After that, server will respond with the status code, right, plus headers plus body, right? HTML body. Then uh, browser will render the information. Browser will render. And also you can add like, okay, the HTTP also adds a TLS handshake for encryption. Okay, you can tell this as a bonus. What is this TLS handshake? So this TLS handshake is the transport layer security. Okay, so it's a process that happens before any secure HTTP data is exchanged. Its purpose to let the client and server verify each other identity. Okay, agree on encryption algorithm, generate a shared key, and start encrypted communication. Okay, so it is for encrypted communication. The next question, it can be asked, okay, when do you use post versus get? So get is for retrieve data, you say already know, right? And post will submit processed data, right, in the body. So interviewer can ask about these codes to you: 401, 403, 404. You know, data not found, right? And what is 403? 401 is like, who are you? I don't know you. Who are you? I don't know you, right? You are not authenticated. Okay. But 403 is like, I know you, but you are not authorized for to access some service, right? 404 is no such, like, okay. And you, the next question they can ask you, okay, why you use fast API, right, over Flask? Because fast API has this native async support, and it has type int driven validation via pydantic, right? Driven validation via pydantic also. And also it allows generated open API docs also there, better performance. Flask is fine, but everything is manual and add-ons there. Okay. Now guys, let's come to the interesting part. Theory is done, right? We will do our ritual first. What is the ritual? Source, we activate the virtual environment, right? venv then activate, right? What happened? Okay, source venv then now we have done this. Now we will create a branch. We will create a branch and install something fast API. Okay. So first create a branch. First check the git status where we are. I think we should be on main, right? Yeah, we are on main, so we have to create a branch and switch to the branch. Okay. So git switch, create that branch. If it is not feature, so let's prediction API. This is our branch, right? Okay. So we have switched to new branch, feature prediction API already. And one more thing, we have to install this pip install fast API. Okay. Fast API, and we have to standard like this. Standard. Oh, let me show you. Alright. So why we use this standard here? Because there in fast API there are some extras like UV core in the server that runs the app. Okay. So UV kernel is the server. So we will talk about it also. What is that? And so what is UV kernel? Like fast API is the recipe format. Okay, recipe format. What is the recipe? How it is written? But the UV kernel is the oven. Okay. So framework will define the endpoints, but server listens on that network and feeds request to the framework, right? So the code around the fast API standard in this you see where is UV code? This one, UV loop like this, right? That was the thing. We downloaded this fast API. This course. So now we have to freeze this, right? We have to freeze pip freeze requirements .txt. All right, you can see here, and now we have to also update our dependencies, right? And PyProject.yml, where it is here. We have to update this dependencies in this case. Okay. Fast API standard. Okay. This will be our now both files are updated, both jobs respected, right? Loose declaration in fast API and the PyProject.tml, and frozen snapshot is in the requirement.txt, right? It's now a new habit for us. Now the predictor module. Reverend brother. Okay. All right, that was it. All right. बोल बोल।
मैं कह रहा इसमें इसका सिलेबस एक बार पढ़ ले, वो डॉक्यूमेंट में से मैंने अभी पढ़ा। तो जो अपने को वो बोल रहा था ना, क्या नाम से, जीपीटी।
हम्म।
जीपीटी हेलुसिनेट मार गया था।
हम्म।
और रियल में सिलेबस और रियल में काम जो थोड़ा अलग है। इंटरेस्टिंग है, हालांकि देखने में इसलिए दोबारा पूछ रहा हूँ क्योंकि मतलब तू ले रहा है तो मैं भी लूँगा, साथ में लेंगे, क्योंकि इसमें टीम वाला प्रोजेक्ट बनाना है। एंड
कहाँ
से में जो मेजर प्रोजेक्ट है ना 40% वाला,
भेजियो?
वो
भेज,
दोनों
सिलेबस कहाँ है
वो
बताइए,
बनाना
भेजियो
है।
एक बार सिलेबस देखते हैं।
हाँ,
सिलेबस कहाँ है?
सिलेबस का डॉक्यूमेंट है ना तेरे पास?
हाँ है ना।
डॉक्यूमेंट है ना तेरे पास?
कहाँ है?
उसमें देखना, पेज नंबर 155।
ओ बहन, रुक जा।
ये एक बार पढ़ ले पूरा। हेलो,
हम्म।
ये एक बार पढ़ ले तो पूरा।
कौन सा पेज है?
ये है अपना 155 से लेकर 162 तक।
पेज नंबर कहाँ लिखा है पीडीएफ पे?
मतलब सर्च कर लेना थोड़ा सा, मतलब या लैंग्वेज मॉडल सर्च कर ले। पेज नंबर पीडीएफ पे नहीं लिखा है तो उसको किसी भी पीडीएफ व्यूअर में खोलेगा ना,
हम्म।
उबंटू में चला रहा होगा ना,
है?
तो उबंटू में देख ऊपर लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे टॉप।
बता, एक सेकंड रुकिए। हैं? बता क्या था?
नहीं, पूछना है कि
क्या?
ये अटेंडिंग जो होगा फर्स्ट वीक में,
हम्म।
हम लोग सीरियसली लेंगे क्या?
तो तू जा रहा है?
मतलब वैसे ही यहाँ जाऊँगा।
ठीक है, कहाँ जा रहे हो फिर? तू भी जा रहा है?
मैं तो घर जा रहा हूँ।
घर जा रहा है? तो फर्स्ट वीक में सीरियस क्या है? फर्स्ट वीक में तो कुछ नहीं हो रहा भाई। पहले क्या होगा फर्स्ट वीक में? 5-4 तारीख तक तो बच्चे ही आ रहे हैं।
नहीं, आज मेल गया है कुछ लोगों को,
क्या?
ये लोग यहाँ पे नहीं है
हाँ,
कि तुम लोग जल्दी आना, ऐसा कुछ लिखा था। जन को अप्पा जी ने मेल किया था, तो वही पूछ रहा था ऐसा कुछ है क्या।
तो पर्सनली किया ना, बाकी
एक पार्ट था उसका।
we rules are revising to wait for an answer.
उसने तो किसी को मेल नहीं किया था, उसको ये आया मतलब इन लोग वहाँ पे हैं, यहाँ पे नहीं है।
कैसे पता उसको यहाँ पे है कि वहाँ पे?
उसको क्या पता?
हम लोग जब एंट्री किए थे पलाश में, वो चीज़ इन लोगों ने फीड किया था।
तो ऐसे तो कई लोग नहीं है, आता कैसे नहीं?
जब आते होंगे इन लोग रिपोर्ट होता होगा ना।
बहुत बच्चे नहीं है बच्चे पास ही चीज़ें। उसने कुछ पूछा
तेरे
होगा
पहचान में किसी का ऐसा है? नहीं नहीं।
आया हुआ तो मुझे पता नहीं, मुझे नहीं
तो
पता।
आया वो तो दिखते ही कौन है घर जाके।
हम्म,
आउटलुक में पड़ जाते हैं। समझ में नहीं आता।
पता चला मैं घर गया, 2 अटेंडेंस काट लिए, कितना अलग ही स्टोरी भाई।
घर कब तक जा रहा तू?
ये हफ्ता जाऊँगा मंडे से।
डेट
28।
कुछ इशू नहीं है।
मतलब अगस्त में 28 तक आएगा यहाँ पर, किस डेट को आ जाएगा वापस?
3-4।
3-4 को आ जाएगा? क्यों? 3-4 तक तो कुछ नहीं होगा, कुछ नहीं होगा 3-4 तक। पहली 2 क्लास तो वैसे भी फ्री ही रहती हैं, हर एक उसकी सब
वही तो
हाँ,
कंफर्म
सब
करना है।
ऑब्वियसली सब चीज़ टाइप हो जाता है, तो फिर कैसे
एक क्लास तो तू फ्री ही मान।
अरे ये बताओ, अगर ऐसा रजिस्ट्रेशन कर देंगे तो बाकी उनके ट्रायल पे कैसे जाएंगे? एक पता लगा इनको ट्राई करना है।
हाँ, वो भी रहता है।
वो भी है, बट हो
पहली
सकता है
2
जिन लोग चेंज कर दिए तो उन लोग का 0 से स्टार्ट करेंगे, तो आउट ऑफ 24 लेंगे, क्यों परसेंटेज है ना एंड ऑफ द डे।
अरे भाई, एक
अरे ठीक है,
subject
मान लें कि
में-
मैं एक क्लास में कंटिन्यूसली बैठा हूँ, दूसरी क्लास में लेने का मतलब ड्रॉप करता हूँ, वो ड्रॉप करके नया क्लास ले बैठा हूँ।
तो तेरा वो 0, मतलब मैं एक सिचुएशन बोला
तू 3 तारीख को आ जाएगा यहाँ पे, 4 को।
हाँ
तुझे कोई टेंशन नहीं है, चल कर कुछ
अंकल जी
कुछ नहीं।
और प्लेसमेंट
क्यों?
का क्या पता है?
प्लेसमेंट जल्दी होंगे, तैयारी स्टार्ट कर। मतलब कंपनी जल्दी आ सकती है, दिसंबर से पहले टाइमिंग कंपनी।
अक्टूबर से।
तो अक्टूबर से पॉसिबल तो
वो तो अभी पता चल जाएगा, वो ओरिएंटेशन सेशन होगा
अच्छा।
दिसंबर के फर्स्ट अगस्त में, फर्स्ट वीक में। सब बच्चों को पता चल जाएगा कब है क्या चीज़ है। ठीक है, ये बात है।
थैंक यू।
एक तो क्लासमेट बता। यार मैं मोबाइल में खोल रखा है मैंने बहन जो, और मैं कैसे खोलूँ सर?
मैं रूम पे जाके पढ़ लूंगा लैपटॉप पे।
मैं रूम पे ही हूँ, रुक जा, क्या नाम है? हाँ ठीक है, मैं पढ़ लूँगा, ठीक है, और बता।
है ना, बस वो पढ़ के एक बार फिर तू मेरे को बता। मिनी प्रोजेक्ट में उसमें लिखा है, उसमें लैंग्वेज मॉडल अपने को बिल्ड करना है खुद का।
अरे उसको छोड़ तू, मैं एक काम करता हूँ ना, वर्मा है ना नाम, वर्मा?
हाँ हाँ
क्या नाम है पूरा?
हाँ, वासुदेव।
वासुदेव वर्मा।
वर्मा में बी ए वाला है, बी ई वाला नहीं है।
अच्छा, एक तो तूने पीडीएफ भर दी ना तूने भाई। तो सिलेबस का स्क्रीनशॉट भेज दे मुझे एक बार, खुल रखा है तूने?
उसका नहीं निकाला है, उसका नहीं निकाला है।
चल छोड़, जो मैं देख लूँगा बाद में।
या मैं निकाल के भेजूँ क्या?
नहीं नहीं नहीं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, देख लूँगा।
देख लेंगे, अभी कल लास्ट डेट है चेंज करने की, एक बार पढ़ ले उसको, समझ ले अच्छे से। ठीक है, लैपटॉप में जाके खोल ले।
कौन बोला लास्ट डेट कर ले चेंज करने की?
कल है एडिट करने की, कल है।
एड ड्रॉप की क्या है फिर? एड ड्रॉप क्या होता है फिर?
एड ड्रॉप ये होता है कि तेरा कोर्स रजिस्ट्रेशन हो गया,
हम्म
सब बच्चों के सारे कोर्स रजिस्ट्रेशन हो गए, फुल हो गए।
हम्म
अब तो कोई और दूसरे कोर्स को ऐड करेगा, अपना ड्रॉप करेगा, तो कोर्स रजिस्ट्रेशन को नहीं कर सकता। पर ऐड ड्रॉप में ये होता है कि उस कोर्स में सीट खाली होनी चाहिए।
हाँ तो खाली तो रहेगी, इसको कौन ले रहा है भाई? तुरंत ही तो अप्रूव हो गया ये।
हाँ
ठीक है, देखते हैं बाद में सीन क्या है।
चल मैं देर से लगाता हूँ।
फिर तुझे दिक्कत क्या आई इसको पढ़ने में? तूने मैसेज करा,
हाँ
तुझे ऐसी क्या प्रॉब्लम हो गई पढ़ के इसको कि भाई इसमें इसको देख एलुसिनेट कर गया? ऐसा क्या है इसमें?
अरे मेरे को अपना भाई देख के जब तू देखेगा ना मिनी प्रोजेक्ट मेजर प्रोजेक्ट में क्या बनाना है, वो थोड़ा डरावना भी है।
डरावना है?
ऐसा सिस्टम है।
डरावना क्यों है भाई?
देख रहे ना, मैंने काम नहीं करा, तूने करा, उसका तेरे को पता, उसमें खुद का लैंग्वेज मॉडल बना था इसलिए।
अच्छा।
मतलब सीखने को बहुत कुछ है, तो खुद का लैंग्वेज मॉडल बना। तो
हम्म
पढ़ एक बार ना, इसलिए बोला तो पढ़ उसको एक बार, फिर मुझे कॉल करना,
हम्म
कल कर लेना या देख ले अपने हिसाब से, पर देख के बताना।
हाँ
या फिर ऐसा
हाँ
होगा अपन टीम बना के इसमें कर लेंगे, 2 लोगों की टीम रहेगी, ठीक है?
हाँ हाँ
एक बार देख ले तो फिर करते हैं इसमें डिस्कशन।
ठीक है ठीक है।
हाँ भाई।
Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will be we will meet in